Hello, Josh Meyer, Superintendent of Boquete Valley Central School District, here with you today to talk about our reopening plan for this fall. First of all, I want to thank everyone who did put the time in to help us out on a variety of different committees, and any of you that may have helped out with our employee survey or our parent survey. I really do appreciate that, so thank you for doing that. Any of you that were watching the board meeting this morning, I did make a mistake on the calendar that I presented, and I just want to clarify with everyone, there is no school on Labor Day. That is a federal holiday, so Monday, September 7th, no school. I apologize, I made a mistake in one of the calendars I presented, but definitely no school on Monday, September 7th for teachers or for students. So I want to talk about a few assumptions and realizations that we need to understand in going into this school year. First of all, schools are not and have never been 100% safe. And I say this because I've had a few parents reach out to me saying that they don't want to send their students back to school, their children back to school, until the school is 100% safe. And I just want to put this out there that is an unrealistic expectation. Schools have never been that. They have never been absolutely, totally safe. We know that bacteria and viruses spread through schools, right? They spread from the students to the teachers, and vice versa. This is something that happens every year in every school district across the country. Nothing to do with the coronavirus or COVID-19. This is just something that has always happened. Secondly, we know that injuries occur in school, certainly in athletics, occasionally in PE class, and a variety of other circumstances this occurs. And we also know that in some instances, some injuries can be fatal in school districts. So my point here is that our target is not and cannot be for schools to be 100% safe. But we will make them as safe as we can possibly make our schools. Next, some students and some employees will get sick. Okay, again, it's unrealistic for us to go into this school year expecting no one to get sick, period. Will any of those students get the coronavirus? That's a possibility. We don't know. Again, I can't stand here and tell you that no one's going to be exposed to the coronavirus, that no one's going to get sick. I can't sit here and tell you that. So we're going to work with the assumption that some of our students, some of our teachers, some of our employees will get sick. We just want to make sure that we're working together to follow the protocols and the procedures to minimize the number of people that are affected by that. Another thing we need to understand is that academic progress will not be typical this year. We have every intention of making the academic experience far better than it was in the spring, but to go into this school year expecting it to be a normal school year, or to be expecting to have absolutely full academic progress and a full academic schedule based on previous years, that's another unrealistic expectation. So I want to put that out there to the parents and to the community that we're going to make the best of our situation this year. We are going to have some real expectations and some real academic rigor, but to go in there expecting that it's going to be the same as it has been in previous years is unrealistic from the start. And lastly here, another assumption is that we are likely to close for part of the school year. Some of those closures may come from me as a superintendent. I may, based on information that I have, say, okay, we're going to close for 24 hours. I may even close this for a few days, or maybe even up to a couple weeks. Or we may be told that we're closing by our local Department of Health, perhaps by our state Department of Health, or even by the governor. Okay, so these are some assumptions that we're working with this year. And we're going to do our best to plan for all of these. Our main objective through our communication is to make sure that parents and families and students have an understanding of what our plan is. Not necessarily that you agree with all aspects of our plan, but just that you understand the plan, and then you can make the decisions that are best for you and your children and your families. Okay, so we had a Board of Education meeting this morning for the board to receive the plan. The plan was submitted to the state on Friday, both to the Department of Education and to the Department of Health, and posted on our website and Facebook pages, our letters to the family, a few other documents, a one-page summary document, and the full reopening plan. The full reopening plan, by the way, is about 70 pages. When you add in all the different items needed in the appendix, it's well over 100 pages. So for that reason, we provided you with summary documents, as we do not anticipate that everyone is going to have the time or the inclination to go out there and read all 100 of those pages. We also do plan to send a letter, an actual letter through the U.S. Postal Service home and through email. We will be sending a robocall out later today. This is a community video update. And then we are also working on doing some public forums. We're looking for the best, safest way to make that happen. And again, as I mentioned, we're looking for parent and family understanding of the plan. And then from there, you can make a decision that's best suited for you, your child, and your family. A couple areas of the plan that are very similar to things that we've done in previous years and don't need a lot of attention here really is nutrition, or a cafeteria program. All students will continue to eat free. That's breakfast and lunch. If you end up working remotely, we will certainly make every effort to get you the food as we have in the past. When you were working remotely, if you're in school, then you can eat here just like you always have. That's no problem. One minor change that we're asking is we do not want any cash being exchanged in the cafeteria. So we're working on other ways of a student were to come in with cash to work that out prior to getting down to the cafeteria. Our budget and fiscal information, we're still waiting on the federal and state government to figure out exactly where we are for this year. Our bilingual education and world languages, we still have our same process in there for identifying and assessing our incoming students and educating them appropriately. And staffing and human resources, we have a little bit of flexibility within our certifications, a little bit of flexibility with our substitutes that we haven't had in the past, and APPR should be back to normal. That's our teacher and principal evaluation system, should be back to normal for this school year. Health and safety. Now, this presentation, by the way, is posted on the website if you're having trouble seeing it. I know some of the font is small, so you could pull that up and follow along with me if you'd like. But the main points here: stay home when ill, and this is a very significant change to business as usual. We are asking that all parents do a health and a temperature screening of their children prior to sending them to the school bus or prior to sending them to any school building. What this will look like, we have a few questions, and I'll pull those up a little bit later on. Basically, they ask if you have any COVID-related symptoms, if you have been exposed to anyone with COVID, or if you yourself have tested positive for COVID in the last 14 days. As long as you can answer no to all those questions, then you go ahead with the temperature screening. As long as the temperature is below 100.0 degrees, you'll be welcome on the school bus or in the school building. In addition to that, we will be looking at random temperature checks throughout the day to ensure the temperatures are staying below that 100.0 marker. Now, I mentioned this earlier in the board meeting, but I'll say it again, that I have absolutely always been one of those parents that when my own children came to me and said that they didn't feel well, maybe their stomach hurt or something along those lines, I was always one of those parents saying, okay, well, why don't you go to school? Why don't you try it out? See how it goes. And if you don't feel great, then we can pick you up and we can have you sent home. That is exactly what I'm asking you not to do this year. This year, we're having enough issues with everything related to COVID-19 that we're asking that if your child is experiencing any symptoms that may be related to COVID-19, that you keep them home. We also know that some symptoms in children show up a little bit differently than they do in adults, and some of those better known symptoms. So we're just asking that you don't send your children when they're sick. If they do come to school and they do have a temperature or they are displaying symptoms, they will be sent home immediately. Physical distancing here really seems to be the name of the game this year. We want to keep everyone as far apart as we possibly can, and we just want to make sure that all students, employees, and visitors will remain at least 6 feet apart whenever possible. Speaking of visitors, we are going to do everything we can to only have absolutely essential visitors in the building. I know that a lot of parents historically have had some access to the building, whether to come to the office or maybe to drop their student off or to pick their student up. We are not allowing that this year. All parents can wait outside. If any business needs to happen with the school, we're asking that you do that over the phone or through the intercom. Face coverings or masks. These are going to be required, okay? We're expecting all of our employees to wear a mask whenever they're not physically distanced or when they're in any common area. Similarly for the students must wear a mask whenever they are not physically distanced or when they're in any common area like hallways, offices, restrooms, buses, etc., and when they're instructed by an employee to do so. We're also looking to minimize contact with touchable surfaces. These surfaces will be cleaned regularly, and we're just asking that these areas not be touched any more than they absolutely have to be. We're looking to wash and sanitize frequently. This is, soap and water on your hands, hand sanitizer, those kinds of things. We're hoping the students are getting a lot of practice at home this summer, and that's a behavior that you're looking to teach the students, teach your children, and that the students come in here knowing how to do. Another thing we're looking at is to manage occupancy, flow, and gathering in spaces. Right, so we are not looking to have any kind of large gathering in any space. We're trying to minimize those numbers as best we can. We are also trying to designate stairways either as one way to go up or a different staircase to go down, or have different cohorts use different stairways, again, to minimize any potential contact. Social emotional well-being is an area where certainly our school district, and I think school districts across the state and the country, struggled with this spring. It was again, I think that everyone did their part, did the best that they could, but we feel much better about the plan we have moving forward this fall, where we are really going to do a much better job of taking a look at the social emotional well-being of our students. If as parents you have concerns about that, I strongly encourage you to contact your classroom teacher or the school counselors with any information or concerns that you do have. Our facilities. I'm not going to get into all this. I'm not going to read all this to you again. As I mentioned, this is on the website. You can go through and read each of these items as you wish. But just to give you the quick update on here, we're looking at some areas where we're putting barriers in place. We're marking off 6-foot markers on our floor to ensure that students and employees are keeping their distance. Same thing with chairs in the classroom. We're increasing the distance to 6 feet whenever possible. We're decreasing our water fountain usage and asking students to bring water bottles and use our water bottle filling stations. We're looking at some of our safety drills to run those in a socially distanced capacity. We're increasing the amount of times our bathrooms and other common areas will be cleaned. We're adding more areas for hand sanitizer, and just generally speaking, we're really increasing the level of cleaning and disinfecting that's happening in the building. Transportation. Again, before a student can get on the bus, they need to successfully pass that health and temperature screening from the parent in the morning. Once they get on the bus, they will need to wear a mask from the time they are at the bus stop until the time that they are at school in the classroom and an employee has given them permission to remove their mask. So that morning procedure, the student will have their mask on for a bit of time. One thing that we are asking to do, we are encouraging parents to transport their children whenever possible. School buses were basically designed to pack as many students into a vehicle as we could, safely, but pack them in as much as we could to transport them to the school building. This is something that we are absolutely trying to get away from right now based on our current situation. We do not have the capacity, we're limited on buses, we're limited on drivers. So if anyone has the ability to transport their student either to school or from school, even if it's only one day a week, or maybe it's once a month, or whatever you can do would help out the district. And help us out in maintaining social distancing on the bus, spreading students out for those parents that can't transport their students. Another thing, and we don't have the specific guidelines yet, but this will be coming to you later this month. We are not going to be as flexible as we have been in the past with bus notes and changes to bus procedure. Okay, we're asking that that you give our transportation department plenty of notice where that student is going each day. We make a plan on that, and we're going to be adjusting our routes as needed to accommodate for the social distancing and keeping our students apart. So any adjustments or any changes to that is going to make it more difficult for our planning. So you'll have more information on the limitations to making changes to our bus routes. Absenteeism. So this is an area that is definitely on our radar. We are expecting students to be participating. Whether it's a remote option, a hybrid option, or an in-person option, students need to be present. Now, being present means different things in each of those different settings, and we'll be monitoring absenteeism. We will be, calling parents. We'll be having appropriate communications with other agencies if needed, but attendance and absenteeism is an area that we will definitely focus on this fall as well. So I want to talk a little bit about our schedule and the different learning models that we're going to have. So we have three models: an all in-person model, an all remote model, and a hybrid model. All right. Over the last several weeks, I've talked to several parents, phone calls, emails, about their level of comfort in sending their students back. We have some parents who are ready to send the students back right now. We have other parents who still aren't quite sure if they're comfortable with that. You may have some issues about health concerns about the student, health concerns about someone living in the home, or just generally not being comfortable with the plan. We are trying to be as flexible as we can with the families and with the parents. And we are allowing for an all remote model. So if you are not comfortable sending your student back, if you want a few more weeks, if you want to see how it's going to go, you maybe want to give us a month or two to figure out some of the kinks, and you want to look for an all remote model, that is an option that you have. There's a student survey, a student learning request form that I'll pull up in a few minutes here and show that to you. That form needs to be back by August 15th, in which you will designate which of these options you need. The default model here to start the school year is the hybrid model. We're dividing students into a blue group and a gold group, and the students would come if you're in the blue group, you come on the blue days. If you're in the gold group, you come on the gold days. I'll pull that calendar up in just a moment. And the all in-person model. This essentially is where students would report to school every day. Now, this is not really available for every single student. You need a reason to be in this model, okay? Perhaps, both parents are essential workers and there's just no other option. Perhaps the student was unsuccessful in the spring and had really struggled with anything remote. Perhaps there is an IEP or a 504 concern that would require that student to be all in person every day that we're offering that. So these are the options that you have. And the idea here is that we want to ease into the school year. Nothing would make us happier, or nothing is going to make us happier than the day that we could have all the students back here, all the teachers back here, everyone back here operating at full capacity. We're not there yet. We have a plan and protocols in place that look great on paper. I think everyone involved would stand behind the plan and is proud of what we've come up with here, but it's on paper. We need to run this for a few weeks, make sure that these protocols and procedures are actually holding up, and that the number of cases in our district and in our region still stay low. Every 5 weeks, we're going to evaluate this plan and make decisions from there. Our goal is to have everyone back in the building. But until then, we need to have a little bit of flexibility, and we want to sort of ease into the school year. I have this picture of this valve up here, and this is something that the governor talked about quite a bit in his phased reopening strategy, where we're going to open the valve a little bit. We're going to get some students back here. We're going to get our faculty back here. We're going to be able to do a better job of cleaning with the decreased number of students in the building at one time. And we're going to work our way up to having more students in the building. We open the valve a little bit more, and then we see what happens. Every 5 weeks, we're going to reassess where we are and come up with a plan for the next 5 weeks. Sometimes the valve is going to be closed by us at the district level. Other times that valve is going to be closed by Department of Health or the governor. Okay, so this is what we're looking to do. This is what we're trying to do. Again, the hybrid model is that default model, but you do have the option for the all remote if you're more comfortable with that. You do have the option for the all in-person model if you have a specific reason that you need that. So I want to talk a little bit about what this schedule could look like. So if you take a look here, again, we have our Lakeview campus in this column. We have the Mountain View campus here. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Lakeview campus. So the Lakeview campus, we're alternating with the blue days and the gold days. The blue days are our even number grades, K, kindergarten, second, and fourth grade. The gold days are the odd days, first, third, and fifth. So what we're looking to do here is have our alternate days at the Lakeview campus, where on the 3rd, we just have our blue students come. On the 4th, we have the gold students come, and then we're alternating for a few weeks here. Now again, this is where I made the error this morning. I did not account for Labor Day, so I'm clarifying now. Labor Day is a holiday. There is no school on Labor Day for students or teachers, but then we pick the rotation right back up, moving down here through the 18th. On the Mountain View campus, we're doing the same idea where we're looking at the even number grades on the blue days, the odd number grades on the gold days, and we're alternating those for the first few days to give everyone an opportunity to get in the building. It should give everyone an opportunity to see their teachers, and then starting on the 14th, we're going to have a blue week, and then we shift to a gold week, and then back to a blue week. All right, so that's what we're looking at the Mountain View campus. So we're alternating at the beginning, blue week, then gold week, back to a blue week. If everything stays the same, then we'd have a gold week the next week, and this pattern will continue. Back to the Lakeview campus, so you alternate up to the 18th, and then we're gonna try to get all our students back at the Lakeview campus on the 21st. All grade levels in person starting on the 21st. Again, this could change. We could have reasons where we want to continue the alternating model. We could have reasons, that we want to move to this model. One thing that all parents need to be aware of and all students should be aware of is on Wednesdays, starting on the 9th at Mountain View, and this is on the calendar, so you should be able to look at the calendar and see this. And then starting on Wednesdays, the 23rd on the Lakeview campus, it's all remote learning for all of our students. We feel this is necessary for a deep cleaning of the building. So all remote during those days, deep cleaning of the building happening, where we can get our cleaning and disinfecting happening. Again, this is all in an effort to sort of slowly open that valve, see how we're doing. Once we know where we are, we'll announce what's happening for the next 5 weeks, but our intention, if everything stays about the same, is just to continue this. We continue with all grade levels at the Lakeview campus, we continue alternating weeks at the Mountain View campus. But again, if we have more information, we may need to adjust that. So, big changes in teaching and learning. We want to make sure that all students have the opportunity to feel safe, engaged, and excited about their learning, okay? Whether they're doing in-person, remote, or hybrid, there should be an exciting time. It's a new school year, new opportunities. We want to make sure that excitement is getting across to the students. We also want to make sure that everyone, teachers, students, families, parents, everyone is able to transition from one model to another model to another model. As I mentioned, I believe that we are likely to be shut down for anywhere from a 24-hour period to maybe even longer, whether that's a local decision or a state decision. I believe that will happen at least once this year. So we want to make sure that we can transition from maybe the in-person model to a remote model if needed. I can tell you that if that happens, it is likely going to happen very quickly. We're not going to have a lot of notice that we need to switch to a different model. We also know that an issue is internet and technology. We think we're in a good place in terms of devices. We should have enough devices for anyone that needs them, whether it's a desktop or a Chromebook. We're looking to deploy those and make the best out of that situation. Internet access continues to be an issue. There are some things that we're trying to do. We're looking at getting some hotspots to send home with students, but these have been back ordered, and we're looking to get those and put them into use. Rigor and accountability, this is something that is absolutely a priority this year. We gave a lot of people the benefit of the doubt in the spring, a lot of families, a lot of students, benefit of the doubt, assuming they did the best they could with what they had, and we need more this year. We're looking to have more rigor, more accountability, and we're hoping that with our three models, the in-person, the remote, and the hybrid, that we're able to put everyone in the right group there. We will continue to communicate. The information comes very quickly at times. Sometimes we're being told what we need to do, other times we're giving recommendations, and sometimes we're just giving information, and we need to make decisions from there. So we will do our best to communicate with the families as best we can. As I mentioned, we know our issues with technology and connectivity. I encourage you as families to reach out to building principals or classroom teachers with any specific issues that you have, and we can go from there. Special education, the quick version of this slide is that all the IEP services, 504 services, those will be met. Whether that means we need to bring those students in here each day, or maybe they can participate in the hybrid model or the remote model. That has a lot to do with their IEP, and again, we will be in touch with those students about those particular needs. I want to talk a little bit about flexibility. So these are uncertain times. We are really trying to be as flexible as we can with families. We understand that we do not have all the answers. We understand that no one has all the answers right now. So we want to make sure that you have options and that you're comfortable with whatever option that you choose. We have information. We have a certain level of information, a certain level of resources. We do not have unlimited funds to make this building any safer than what we're already doing. We're spending money on masks. We're spending money on signage. We're looking at some kind of barriers that we can put up in certain locations. Hand sanitizer, increased cleaning products. All these things get pretty expensive pretty quickly, and we're doing the best we can with what we have here. So, as the information changes or the resources changes, we may need to adjust our plan. But I continue to focus on this, that every family needs to make a decision that is right for them and that they are comfortable with. Just because your neighbor or your friend is doing something doesn't mean that's the option you have to go with. Make a decision that's right for you and a decision that you're comfortable with. You need to look at the advantages and disadvantages of each of the options for you and for your child. When you look at the education, you look at how did remote work for you in the spring. If you were really successful in the spring, maybe you're someone who might want to consider that option. If you're someone who just totally not successful, maybe you lack the motivation, maybe it just wasn't a modality that you were comfortable with, then maybe you're looking for, you know, the hybrid or the remote, or the hybrid or the in-person option. The health and safety, everyone has health and safety concerns. You know, some of the students have health and safety concerns. That may be a reason why you may not want to send them. Others of you may have someone else in the home with health and safety concerns, and that may be a reason you might not want to send your student. And you might value the full remote option. All these things are things that you need to consider and make a decision that's best for you, your child, and your family. And of course, transportation, internet accessibility, and any other thing, you know, any other item that we've talked about already. You may have some specific things that you're concerned about to help you make your decision. All those things are things that you need to take a look at and that you need to be comfortable with. So, quick summary if I can. So, our top priority here is definitely the health and safety of students, understanding that we are never going to be 100% healthy or 100% safe. We're going to do everything we can to be as safe and as healthy as we can possibly be. We'll continue to update the community as best we can. The district and the building are prepared to respond to questions. There were questions that came through at the Board of Education meeting this morning. There's a document that the administrators have been working on since then and will be posted as soon as it's ready. If you do have specific questions that aren't on that document, please send it to an administrator and we'll get that answered and get the answer on the document so everyone can see where we are. Again, this is an emotional time for all of us. I know that this is a difficult decision for parents to make, is what you think is the best thing for you and your child. We recognize the stress and the reopening places on you as parents, on the students, and on our staff. Okay, we ask that you also try to recognize that that same stress that's happening with, you know, with other families, other students, and the teachers and the staff here as well. Our procedures have been established regarding these conditions. We're looking for, you know, some changes to be made in classrooms, offices, hallways, common areas, things that are going to be a little bit different. We need everyone to be ready to comply with those when they arrive on the first day. Our code of conduct and our policies and procedures have been updated. Again, all that information will be sent home to you, made available to you. And another thing that we are asking is that any non-educational item, any non-essential item really shouldn't be in the school. We want to make cleaning as easy as possible for our custodial staff, and sometimes that extra stuff can make it a little bit more difficult. So again, if you have questions, please email one of the administrators, or you can check the website. A lot of the information is up on the website and on Facebook. Again, email should be going home very soon here, and we will do our best to answer all the questions that you have. I do want to show you a couple other documents here real quick, and so the student placement request, this is the form that you're going to need to return to us. Describes a little bit about some of the things I was talking about today. These are the addresses for both campuses that the form would need to be sent to the appropriate campus. So what you need to do, so you would need to do one of these for each student that you have. You may, in if you have, say you have 2 children, they do not need to do the same thing. One could choose a hybrid option, one could choose a full remote option. Again, we're interested in what's best for the student here. So you put the student name here, you would select in-person, remote, or the hybrid instruction. If you do choose in-person instruction, you need a reason there. You need a reason as to why you need that. And we may follow up with you. Again, these are requests, so we will work with you to do the best we can. Also attached to this is a transportation plans. Basically, your child will ride the bus, your child will not ride the bus. You answer that to the best of your ability right now, and we will follow up with questions if we have them. You date and sign that and send that in. Also on there is the calendar that we talked about for your reference, and maybe that can help you make a decision if that schedule can work for you or not. And again, this is due on August 15th. One of the last things I just want to say again, that we're asking parents to make decisions for a 5-week period. Make a decision, you stick to it for 5 weeks. You can make a different decision based on what our options will be for the next 5 weeks, based on whatever information we have at the time. If you have like an emergency, or if you have something that changes for you and you need to change during that 5-week period, call the principal. If we can be flexible, we'll be flexible. And I believe those are the documents that I have for you right now. Everything else, like I said, will be sent via email, posted on the website and on Facebook. Please call if you have questions, or email if you have questions, and we'll do our best to get you that information as soon as we can. Thank you very much. Good luck with your decision. Have a great day.